Welcome back, chapter 25. It's been hard trying not to worry about Jalecia, but it's been 3 weeks and I was hoping she might have reached out by now, especially since we're scheduled to leave on the cruise soon and I'm worried about whether she's still at that place and if it's helping her. I was hoping she might be feeling good enough to call just to give me a clue how she's doing. I suppose I'd know if she had changed her mind and left because she would have picked up her car. Against my better judgment, I decided to call my BFF. That was very kind of you to put all that money into my account, Laretha. Hold up. Did she just call Peggy her BFF? And not only did I appreciate it, I needed it. Did you get my thank you card? You're quite welcome, Peggy. And I apologize for being such a bitch that day. I do appreciate everything you've done to help my daughter. I'm not sure if I got your card because I don't check my mail that often, but I'll take a look. I walked over to Carl's chair, slid the basket close to me, and started sifting through all the envelopes. There were quite a few from Ma, which was a relief that she had decided to start sending them again. And as I flipped through more junk mail than anything, I came across a small yellow envelope that looked like a party invitation. Have you heard anything from Jalecia since she went to that treatment place? She asked, as I slid open the envelope and saw the little card with a colorful bouquet of flowers that said, "Thank you," and inside bunches and bunches. I was touched. No. Have you? No, but I wouldn't worry. Not hearing from her is a good sign. I think she's serious because after she started seeing those doctors, she did not miss an appointment. You know you can't call them to get any information, but I'm just glad they're black. I apologize for sounding so negative about Jalecia getting treatment because I was just thinking that she might not want to be bothered with me anymore. But this is why I've also been thinking I could probably use a mental tune-up myself. You think, Peggy? Well, if either of us hear from her, just let each other know. How's that? Great, I'll do that. Boone bailed Mama Lo, and it's a good thing because I don't have time to babysit him. I had to admit to myself that I was relieved, but I just said he just didn't seem suited for Southern California. So tell me, when will you and your mom be here? Day after tomorrow. That's 2 days from now, Kwame. I thought you were going to give me a heads up. I just did. But not to worry, Mama Lo. We can stay at a motel. No, you will not. I have 2 empty bedrooms. Well, one. My new treadmill is in one. But fortunately, it's not being used much. Wait. What is your mother's name? I've only heard you refer to her as Mom's. Carolyn Bledsoe. How old is your mom? I don't think you ever told me. Not that you had any reason to. She just made 55, Mama Lo. But you wouldn't know it looking at her. She's been through a lot. 55? I was trying to do the math in my head. How old was Carl back then? But it wasn't really all that important. It was still before me. Well, we'll figure this out, Kwame. So please don't worry. I was going to start looking into it, but I didn't know your timing. Are you sure it's okay for us to stay with you? Seems like I'm always imposing, and I don't mean to, but you're all we've got. We've? Exactly, we've. That was so refreshing to hear. Don't worry about anything, Kwame. Just tell me what time you're getting in and I'll pick you up. No, we can Uber. It's what has kept me from starving in Flint, and I can get reinstated in Los Angeles. But thank you so much, Mama Lo. We get in about 9 p.m. We'll call you when we're on our way. I love you. I love you too, Kwame. When I heard BB King barking, I looked in the driveway and saw Lucky sitting in her brand new white Range Rover. I opened the kitchen door and walked down the steps as she rolled her window down. So, is this a late night life crisis or something? She started shaking her head, then tapped the steering wheel with her palm. I have made too many wrong turns, she said, and opened her door and got out. Was that a black bathrobe she was wearing? What's going on, Lucky? I asked, worried about what she was going to say. I gave her a hug. Lucky smelled like mint. I could hear B.B. King crying, but I was not letting him out. Have you been smoking? I asked. Yes, I needed something. Then maybe I don't want to talk to you since you're under the influence. Then don't. But I need to eat something sweet and I need to spend the night. For the second time, what the fuck is going on, Lucky? Can you make BB shut up? He's getting on my nerves. I ran up the steps and let him out. He lives here and he knows something is wrong. So if he wants to cry, he can cry. Is that dog ever going to die? She asked. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry, BB. See what I mean? That shit's give you Tourette's. You say whatever comes into your head, which is usually something mean-spirited, but not what's really in your heart. Do you have to yell, Laretha? What's in here? I asked, grabbing the In-N-Out bag of what I knew was probably a double cheeseburger and french fries. It fell to the ground and B.B. King snatched the bag and ran with it to the side of the garage. I was in no mood to stop him. Then Lucky walked over to BB's water dish and threw up in it. B.B. King dashed over and just looked at her as if to ask, Are you crazy? That was my water dish. Then he looked at me wondering if I was going to do anything about this. Sit, I said to him, and he sat. When Lucky stood up, she looked at me and said, I don't want to move to any fucking Costa Rica or Panama. That was all Joe's idea. I told him I'm not leaving my friends and he said he would go without me. He didn't mean it. Oh, yes, he did. Come on in. I feel sick. My stomach hurts and I need to drink some water and just lie down low. I fucked up. I should never have smoked that weed and I'm sorry for doing this to you. I put my arms around her and walked her into the house and into the guest bedroom, where she sat down on the bed Jalecia had slept in. Don't move, I said, and walked back to the kitchen to get a bottle of water from the fridge. I didn't know if I could handle a whole night of Lucky. Did you bring anything to sleep in? I asked and handed her the bottle, which she drank completely. No, I sleep in my underwear, but don't worry, you don't have to look at me. I could use a robe. You're wearing a robe. She looked down as if she was surprised. Just get into bed, Lucky. But she just sat there. I'm not sleepy. Then go on back home, I said, not really meaning it. No, sleep that dope off. Then tomorrow morning talk to your husband and stand your ground without being a bitch. Just then I heard my phone ding with a text message. I started to panic thinking it may have been Jalecia, but when I pulled it out of my pocket, I was relieved to see it was from Jackson. Ma, are you still coming in June? We haven't heard back from you in a while, and we want to see you. We've moved into a bigger place, which is still small by American standards, but we now have an extra room and the girls are saying Nana when we show them your picture. I texted him back and gave him a firmer date. I would confirm as soon as I knew when the new shop was going to open. I'm finally going to Tokyo, I said to Lucky and B.B. King. But Lucky was snoring and B.B. King, who had been lying next to my feet, just looked up at me as if to say, Where's Tokyo? Lucky was gone when I woke up. I was surprised I didn't hear her leave or B.B. King whimper or something when she opened the side door. I peeked inside the bedroom and could tell she hadn't even gotten under the covers. I texted her because I didn't feel like talking. I hope you came to your senses, Lucky. I thought we were all trying to be more reasonable. With Lucky gone, I remembered I was supposed to go to the hip-hop class. Lord knows I didn't want Corinthia to curse me out for missing it. I ate an apple and half of a whole wheat English muffin that I toasted and spread this stuff called ghee that Jonas told me to buy instead of butter. It tasted like butter, but better. I wanted a glass of orange juice so bad I could almost taste it. I didn't have any because I had stopped buying it, but I had yet to figure out what I was supposed to drink instead of it. Maybe I'll find the answer in one of the million books on diabetes I ordered from Amazon. I think it would be helpful if there was a Diabetes Anonymous where you can meet people struggling with this disease and we could share tips and not feel so bad if we slipped and had a chocolate chip cookie or a juicy cheeseburger with fries and a vanilla shake. I had already decided I was not trying to be perfect, but I wanted to prove to myself, Dr. Alex, and my friends, and especially Poochie, that I was finally starting to take this disease and this third act of my life seriously. Okay. Welcome, Larethia. Corinthia just had to yell, embarrassing the hell out of me. We've missed you and we've got some new moves, right, ladies and gentlemen? And they all scream, yes, we do. But first, let's warm up. And we warmed up. And the black guy who occasionally found his way into my row waved at me. He had some good moves and he was friendly, but not overly friendly, which was why I was also friendly to him. But when he eased his way back to my row and stood next to me, I asked where the wrestler was by pointing to the empty spot. When he said he had recently moved to Costa Rica to retire, I almost choked. Why is everybody moving to Costa Rica? I've been a few times and it's not a bad place to retire. It's beautiful, but I like it here. How have you been? It's Laretha, isn't it? Yes, and to be honest, I don't remember you telling me your name. I did, but you don't remember because you thought I was forgettable. That's not true. What is it? Excuse me, James and Miss Laretha. Are we warming up? Am I breaking something up? I wanted to give her the finger, but instead I said I was having a problem and James was kind enough to help me solve it. This is how it starts, she said, embarrassing the hell out of me. I left during the cool down so I wouldn't have to say goodbye to James. I wanted to find out if there was any availability at Valley View Assisted Living for Carolyn. Fortunately, I knew the director and I stopped by unannounced, knowing Mom would be in her aerobics class in a different wing. Luckily, there was vacancies. I had tried to convince Mom to get a one-bedroom, but she had said, I spent my whole life going from room to room. I don't want to walk anywhere but the bathroom. I knew how much my studio cost because Carolyn would have to wait at least a year before her Medicaid would take effect in California. I didn't mind paying for her to have a one-bedroom until then. I was just glad I could afford it. Also, considering who Carolyn was, it seemed fitting. And when Jalecia finished her treatment, if she needed help finding a place, I'd do the same for her. Anything to stop her from going back to live with Peggy. If she wants to stay with me until she feels strong enough to live on her own, she can have a key. Although Kwame had sent me Carolyn's medical record, the director advised me that a California doctor would have to verify them, give her another medical assessment, then provide that one to Valley View. She could move in as soon as the director received them. I was pretty sure Carolyn would be comfortable living here, especially the access to physical therapy and prepared meals, not to mention being around other people, not all of whom were on their deathbeds. I had let the housekeepers go after Carl passed because I needed something to keep me busy, but I hardly ever cleaned the other two bedrooms, and since I wasn't sure how long Kwame or his mother might need to stay, I called the housekeepers and they were kind enough to help me out on short notice. The next day, I left the key under the mat and a check for more than what I used to pay them. I also asked if they would like to start coming again on a regular basis, and Consuela sent me a text and said, of course, that her team of 3 had missed me and BB King. I spent most of the day at the shop because the painters were almost finished and the new color stained concrete floors were in. And as soon as I got back from the cruise, the new makeup stations and the product stations would be installed. I rehired the two young ladies who had worked at the Los Angeles store, Tanisha and Coy, who were excited when they saw the changes I was making in the new house. This place is going to rock. Too bad you couldn't have blown up like this in LA. I'm also going to hire someone to handle the day-to-day operations because I just can't supervise everything anymore. It's not just because I'm too old to do so much, but because I don't want to. This time around, I want to have more fun and be more personable. I'm excited about watching how the new house will flourish and the new clientele we're bound to attract. I hired a smart website designer, and once we've got everything in its place, I'm hopeful we'll be able to attract more folks who want to be pampered. I have three interested buyers for the LA store, and I've explained to all of them that I am in the process of opening a new store, and if they'd be willing to give me another month, we could meet then. They agreed. I saw the Uber lights pull into the driveway, and BB King almost knocked me down when I opened the front door and headed down the steps. Kwame looked like he'd grown, and when he walked around the Black Explorer and held out his hand, his mother gracefully held hers out, and Kwame gently pulled her out of the car to a standing position. I could not believe how tiny she looked next to him. A little more than 5 feet, give or take an inch or two. Her hair was braided in thick tendrils and stopped at her shoulders. From behind her silver-framed glasses, I could tell she had been through a lot, but I could still see her beauty. Her blue jeans were a little baggy, and so was the floral top under her white denim jacket. We would just try to help keep her spirits high. After Kwame handed her a cane, she waved at me like I was leaving. "Hi there, Laretha," she yelled. "We made it." Kwame walked her over to me, bent down, and gave me a big hug. "Hello, Mama Lo," he said. "This is my mom, Carolyn." BB King edged his way between us. "Hey, BB, looks like you missed me, huh, fella? I missed you too." I walked over to Carolyn and gave her a hug. She must have felt my sincerity because she squeezed me as tight as she could with one arm. "Welcome to California, Carolyn. Can I help you inside?" "Oh no, sweetheart, I can manage with this." And she held up her cane. As Kwame pulled 4 or 5 suitcases from the back of the SUV, I put my arms through Carolyn's and we tiptoed up the stairs. "Thank you," she said. "Going down is a lot easier." "What a beautiful neighborhood you live in. This feels like a dream, you know." I pushed the front door open and she gasped. I thought maybe she'd seen a mouse or something. "Is something wrong?" "No, your house is just beautiful, Aretha. Kwame told me it was, and he said you have a pool in the backyard too." "Everybody has pools in Pasadena," I said to make her feel like this was standard. I wanted to say, wait until you see San Marino or Valley View, where you're going to be living. They're not so shabby either. "Are you hungry? Tired? You want to see where your room is?" She pressed her hand against her chest. "My room?" she said softly. "I can't believe I'm even here, in California. Thank you, Laretha. I would like to unpack my overnight bag, brush my teeth, and put some drops in my eyes. Just show me where." And I did. I gave her the blue bedroom, even though Kwame used to sleep in there because it was bigger. I had left the lamp on and she just sat down on the bed as if to catch her breath. "Thank you," she said again, "for everything." "You're quite welcome." "Hey there," Kwame said. "So you really started my car up every now and then, Mama Lo?" "I told you I had," even though I wasn't telling the complete truth. When I put Jaleesa's car in the garage, I had to move his over to make room, but it wouldn't start. So I called AAA and they gave him his a jump and let it run for hours. But after that, I took to starting it up and letting it run for 10 to 20 minutes, which AAA had told me was long enough. Thank you, he said. Do you need to go somewhere? I do, but just for a few hours. Do you remember my friend Parker? Of course I do. I'm going to give him a shout. I wanted to say, I bet you'll both be doing more than shouting. But I just said, you young folks have more energy than the Energizer Bunny. He walked over and bent down and gave his mother a kiss, and then me. This used to be my room. I'll have you know, woman. Be safe, Carolyn said, and then leaned over and whispered in my ear. He told me about Parker. I don't mind him liking boys, but I just wish he could find a black one. Kwame, I shouted. Just remember that you and your mother have a doctor's appointment tomorrow afternoon, and then I want to take her to see a gorgeous place you will hopefully be living in. It's much nicer there. It's much nicer than here. I have to see that to believe it. How far is it from here, Laretha? 14 minutes. She looked relieved. I'll be back before daylight, he said, and we heard the door slam. I'm sure you're exhausted, Carolyn, so just make yourself at home. If you're hungry, I brought some snacks to tide you over until morning, but I admit I don't have a whole lot of sweets. I don't eat anything with sugar, she said to my surprise. I'm diabetic. Me too, I said like we had just seen the same movie or something. Kwame didn't tell me you were diabetic. He didn't know until he came home. Was it hard? Yes, but I have learned what I can live without. I squeezed her hand and she squeezed mine back. I also want to thank you for everything you've done for my son and now me. You're quite welcome, Carolyn. He's Carl's son, which makes him my son too. It's sad to me that Carl never got to know him. Wait a minute. Hold on now. What makes you think Carl is Kwame's daddy? My mouth dropped. Because Kwame told me he was. No. I never told him that. Carl's brother Earl is Kwame's daddy. Earl, who died in a car accident 12 years ago? That's him. Back in the day, I had a thing going on the side with Earl. I admit, after a hard night of partying, I woke up one morning and didn't know how Carl had got in my bed, but I was already pregnant. I was pretty low back then, so maybe somebody did see me and Carl that night and just assumed, or maybe I did tell somebody Carl was his daddy. Anything to keep Earl's wife from suspecting. You know what I mean? But never in a million years thought Carl was going to die and the whole damn family would come out here thinking they was just telling Kwame the truth. I'm sorry. Damn. She couldn't possibly have made this shit up. I felt sorry for her and for Kwame, but when I thought about it, did it really matter that Carl wasn't his real father? No, it didn't. I put my arms around her and walked to the kitchen. I found some microwave popcorn and grabbed 2 bottles of sparkling water from the refrigerator, and we sat on the couch until it was all gone. That's the end of chapter 25. What? So Carl ain't the pappy. But that's no blame to Kwame because his people thought that it was, because I was like, Kwame better not know that Carl wasn't his pappy, because if he knew that Carl wasn't his pappy, then he back on my hit list of, people who was trying to take advantage of Laretha. And Laretha got money. She act like she got trillions in the bank because she love helping people left and right. I guess I would do the same thing if I had billions of dollars in my account. Maybe. Pick and choose. But anyway, anything else? So Jaleesa hasn't contacted her yet. And is that a good sign that she's doing good? And Peggy, she said Peggy is her BFF and she's still helping Peggy financially. I don't know. I'm just built different because I'm nice and all, but I'm just saying there's a limit to it. Okay, that's all I got to say. I'm going to see you in the next chapter. Bye-bye for now.